Y'all in trouble. People mad at y'all.
Listen, talk to me on West Coast talk.
When it says 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the flyer that you repost and post, that's what time it means.
Yes. Let's just thank DJ D Nice
for
calling
ladies.
Us and cussing us out.
D Nice, y'all thought it was 6 p.m. my time.
Hold on, now we're gonna have Wi-Fi problems on top of it. Hold on.
Oh Lord, Chris, go to probably because you're on your date night page.
Oh, you're saying that's why it's. Hold on.
Everybody should get off Wi-Fi in the house. Tell my niece and my nephew that they got to get off the Wi-Fi.
Hey, you guys, tell everybody to get off Wi-Fi, babe.
Guys, can you get off Wi-Fi, Bella?
Better?
Yeah, you're clear. I can see you perfectly. You might want to put your. Yeah, I'm about to say you might want to put your chest in the shot with your head. Tell Vanessa to hurry up.
This is all. Listen, I wish I could blame some of it on you. No, that's awfuler.
Yeah, we can't. We need to see. We need to. Hey, these.
Baby. Give us 2 seconds. This is horrible.
It's fine. I don't get cut off. They don't cut off my Instagram. We can go forever.
Oh, good. This way or this way? This way.
That way.
Hold on. I don't know. Why did we think it was East Coast, West Coast?
I don't know. You had it at 8 p.m. and I was like, it's definitely not 8 p.m. So I moved it to 3, but I moved it to 3 p.m. our time.
I had it at 8 p.m. on the calendar. Okay, my fault.
Yeah.
I forgive you. We forgive you. TKBS Nation forgives you.
Thank you, TKBS Nation. Sorry.
This thing is pretty as we can make it.
So hi. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I am great. I want to start off by saying this quarantine has been traumatic, but finding date night with Chris and Vanessa has been a highlight. Over here can't go on no dates. You're stuck in the house.
Right.
Then not only guys did Jessica and I do the date night show. I hope you saw that. Please comment in the comment. What the fuck are you doing with the thing, Chris?
We try to make it better. Sorry.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk anymore until the frame stops moving. It's distracting.
Chris, hold it.
Chris is doing this on purpose, y'all. He's doing it on purpose. He meant to do this.
It's getting better.
Okay, better.
He wants to see our chests.
No, I want to see the faces. It's fine.
Oh, there we go.
There. Did you nigga rig it?
Yeah, basically.
Put the stapler by the book
Well, sort of.
Right.
It's
Hi,
like tripod holding the other tripod.
How are you guys doing?
We're good. I think we kind of took a punch on the jaw because they reclosed everything yesterday, which I think we should have never opened to begin with. But,
at least not that early.
I'm scared that I don't know. It's just like I was just talking about the unemployment thing. I heard that they are giving them great money, and I saw you, Kelly, with your smart ass. She told me the exact number because I said around 4,000, but it's actually 3,600. Thank you, Kelly. But it's like they're getting a lot of money to not do anything, and people were like, "I'd rather get this money than actually go back to work."
Yeah. So I think we'll see a lot of that. I was hearing that there were a lot of people not even getting their checks yet. Their unemployment
$1,200 checks were coming.
That there are still people that hadn't received those. So, again, it always goes back to the top and the administration, and it's the person who leads that. If you're not leading and you don't know how to lead, you cannot lead us through dark times. The dark times will only be darker. So
I think people need to understand how dynamic your wife is. But I want to go back, Chris, and I want to tell you something.
How you look up to me? Yes, you told me so many times.
No, I want to talk about something. What did you think I was going to say?
about how you look up to me and you want to be me and all this shit. I heard it so many
Absolutely,
times.
all of that. But you know, Chris and I used to hoop back in the day, y'all. And Chris, I don't really know this though. Were you ever like trying to hoop in high school? Was that a thing for you?
You couldn't tell how great I was?
I mean, I could tell you could play basketball. I don't know about being great. I had great potential. I didn't see
You didn't see
like
potential?
no, I saw potential. Maybe go to college. I didn't see NBA.
Oh,
Like you,
no NBA. Maybe, if there was a JV in China, I could have played, or I could have went to, Austin P. Christian Baptist of the Mountains and
yeah,
started.
right.
There was an opportunity when I was at a junior college. I played a little summer ball, and I was going to play junior college. And I was like, how far am I going to actually go with this? So I just decided to continue with my, education and transfer to UCLA. I had an opportunity to walk on there, and then there was just a fear. There was a fear of me getting cut, which is stupid because I knew the coach, I knew all the
Right.
players. They were like dying just to have me funny on the bench would have been great, but
Right.
I regret it to this day.
So you had an opportunity to walk on UCLA and you didn't
Yes.
try out.
Pooh Richardson, Gerald Mackins, Don McClain, Trevor Wilson, Mitchell Butler, Tracy Murray, Derek Martin. I mean, it was Kevin Williams. It was a great team.
Wow. So you did you graduate from UCLA?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Degree in what?
Sociology.
So you're really smart, Chris. I didn't know that. I thought you were just funny.
Because I got somebody smarter sitting next to me, so I just sit back.
Yeah, I'm getting to her in 2 seconds. 'Cause she's a whole vibe.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually leave when y'all talk.
So sociology. You graduated. So what was your intent with the degree?
To be funny.
No, not with sociology.
To be funny.
You wanted to use your sociology degree.
No, I wanted to do my sociology degree to hurry up and get out of school so I could continue to be funny. I started doing stand-up around my last years of college. I knew I wanted to be an actor and get entertainment, so I looked up one day and I was like, wow, I did 5 sociology classes. I'm a sociology major.
Hey, yo, Chris, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't realize how many of them fucking movies you did in the 90s, bro. Like, I was watching one of the Wayans joints where you played the educated black man.
Yeah, don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Hey, bro, you're in like 25 of those movies, though. Like, so what was your first movie?
I don't know what my first movie was. I mean, I was in Blank Man as well with the Wayans. I did Low Down Dirty Shame with the Wayans.
I've seen them all during quarantine,
yes.
ironically.
Yes.
Literally.
I don't know what my first movie was. I mean, there was a lot of independent stuff I did before. But I guess my first major might have been Blank Man.
Vanessa, you in high school, were you this outspoken?
Yes. I've always been this outspoken.
So you were always lit. What was young Vanessa like in high school?
Feisty. Like it's funny. Like when my brother and I grew up, when we got to high school, there were only like a handful of us. So we always had to be, set the precedent of how we wanted to be treated. Let people know that we would only be treated this way. It's kind of like this. We live 2 lives in a weird way. Like we pass because we just so happen to live in a neighborhood next to the country club.
Right.
But that's not really where we grew up. I mean, like we grew up 427 Castle Hill Avenue. That's like where we lived in the Bronx.
The Bronx.
Yes. So it was like, that's really where our roots were from. And
your brother is older than you, right?
Yeah, he's 2.5 years older than me.
So did he ever like treat you like the little rag doll?
Always. We were always fisticuffs. Adam and I were always fisticuffs. Like first.
So that's part of your fight right there, though, having to fend off the big.
1,000%. Like, and it was always, I was always little sistered. So it was like, yeah, you're my little sister, kind of stronghold, push to the side, always the eye on. Nobody could talk to, nobody could kind of touch. So I was always kind of that fighter.
Right. But, so did you get your independence from that when you went to college?
No, it's funny. I got my independence because my brother when he graduated, I was a sophomore. I was going into my sophomore year. So then I had the rest of my time in high school to sort of live out on my own. And
underneath the claws of Big Bro.
Exactly. And then like we had mutual friends. So then my friends that were our mutual friends, they watched over, but they watched over in the sense that they gave me enough room to be myself, to just breathe.
And where'd you go to college?
So I went to NYU, and I studied
NYU,
education.
UCLA, NYU. I mean, if they're not the most different institutions in the most different places, I don't.
And our personalities match our schools.
Yes, yes.
But and I'm gonna get to that. But NYU, what at NYU did you study?
So I studied education. So at the Steinhardt School of Education. I really wanted to.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I really wanted to be an art therapist. Art therapy wasn't a big field at the time that I was in school, so I decided, I'll go get my teaching degree, which was like a total departure from what I thought I would do as a kid. But at some point when I started teaching, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go finish my teaching degree. I'm going to go on to get my law degree, and then I'm going to become an advocate for education, for childhood education.
Okay, great. And you graduated with your degree in education?
Graduated my degree in education, and I taught for a little bit and decided, well, then 9/11 happened, and where I had been working was very close to the towers.
Okay.
And a lot of my kids' parents had, they were dropped off in the morning, and then their parents walked to work, either on Wall Street or in the towers. And I just decided it wasn't really for me at that moment. Not that I didn't love it, but thought I wanted to take a break. I ran into a friend of mine, Ulysses Torero, on the F train at about like 11:30 as I was headed back to my apartment in Brooklyn. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, kind of in between things, not teaching anymore. And he was like, well, I could use an assistant in the office. And he's a casting director. And that was it. I started working with Ulysses in like January of 2002. And when did you guys meet? What year did you guys meet? 2003. Yep. March of March.
So you're working with Ulysses and Jesse. Is Jesse involved in
Yes.
So you're working with them.
Yeah.
You're working with them, you're in this whole thing. You meet Chris through work kind of thing?
So,
how did that
interestingly enough, I worked for Ulysses for a while.
Say Yuli.
Yuli. I worked for Yuli for a while, right? Because most people probably, right? Most people know as Yuli. So I worked for Yuli for a while. And then in March of 2003, I came out to visit my brother on vacation. I had been here 2 days, and Yuli called me and was like, yo, Jesse's movie got greenlit at MGM. We're going to cast. I want you to work with me.
Tell them the movie.
It was Soul Plane. It was Soul Plane. And I was like, done. Like, I had wanted to come to LA for a while, and that was it. That's how I ended up in LA. We started casting Soul Plane. From Soul Plane, I went to interview with Sheila Jaffe, who had done like Sopranos and Subway Stories and all of this. And she's another Bronx girl. We hit it off, and I never left. I went from Soul Plane to Entourage, into Be Cool, into like all these other projects, and I launched a career from a little bit of a vacation, which I was very lucky.
Wow. So Chris, you're by 2003, you had the Vibe show, you had movies, you've had all these things.
But I didn't have her.
Right. Was going to that, but of course, punchline has to come in. But then you find her.
Yes.
How did that happen?
We just finally agreed on how the story happened.
Literally.
She was
Y'all are the funniest motherfuckers on the planet too, because y'all fuss like
literally. I think we discovered it on your show. Or the show before, where we just finally agreed.
With Tita and Richard.
Lawson, yeah. She was casting a movie, and she called Kevin Hart and said, yo, where can I see fine-ass, handsome, funny comedians? Maybe at least one. And he goes, you got to come to Chocolate Sundays at the Laugh Factory. So,
By the way, those who don't know, Chocolate Sunday is one of the most epic Sunday nights in LA, and you had a very long run. How long did you do that?
it's still going on. It's probably 20 years now.
Wow.
My childhood friend, Pookie Wigington, who actually is from Inglewood, where I grew up, and went to Seton Hall. He has a lot of roots in the East Coast as well. So she came, and she looked at me just how she's looking at me now, like, who the fuck is that? And do we gotta get the details? Anyway, she met me. We fell
in love over a SkyTel two-way pager.
Yes.
So you were texting each other back and forth?
Well, this is what happened.
I was texting Kevin.
Her and Kevin were texting each other, right? Because they were boys and girls. And I saw Kevin texting her, and I was like, "Yo, you gotta stop texting my girl."
You know, Kevin was trying to holler back then, but go ahead.
No,
no, he was married.
he was with Tori.
Okay, next question. All right, you go.
No, she had just put him in the movie.
Yeah.
So, I see them texting back and forth, and I'm like, "Yo, stop talking to my girl." He's like, "What are you talking about? That's my homegirl, Sizzle." I go, "Yeah, but she's in my club. That's my girl." He's like, "Touche." And so then after that, we started talking and coffeeing, and I didn't realize, I didn't even know it was a move, but our first kind of date I was like, "You just moved out here. You know the shortcuts in LA?" So I drove her and showed her fountains and the San Vicentes and Laurel Canyons, and
that was it. And we
Wow.
fell in love over
So
Starbucks.
thoughtful of you, Mr. Spencer.
yes, I mean, people need that. You need to know about fountain.
No, listen, those nuances are very important, especially in LA. But I want to ask this question. You are two totally different people, much like Jessica and I. How did you find a dynamic early in the relationship?
As different as we are, we're very much the same in a lot of ways. We both love to laugh. We both love to make each other laugh. We, just like you and Jessica, we like things of quality. We like quality restaurants. We like quality haberdasheries. We like it sounds too, I would say the arts, but we like the same type of programming. We love the same type of comedians. We like the same type of music. We were finishing each other's sentences at an early part, in our relationship, and we just clicked.
Yeah, it was
Vanessa, what was the moment? What was the moment you knew?
We didn't know we were opposite until we got married.
A little bit, yes, a little bit of that. But the moment I knew, it was our first date. I had messed up the date because, when you're a casting associate, when you first start, like you do not own your schedule. So I was like, sure, 7:30 dinner sounds fine because that's like a reasonable hour. But 7:30 came around and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it.
Right.
He said, well, just call me when you get home. So we ended up going for a coffee. And as we were driving and talking and discovering all these commonalities, like he's the older brother, has a younger sister, his mom worked for an airline, my mom worked for an airline, his stepdad was an attorney, my dad's an attorney, like just all these
Caribbean.
things. And I was like, and we were laughing and joking. And at one point I looked over at him as we were coming across Mulholland, and I was like, I think I'm going to love him. And that was it. That was just
that is so beautiful. I try to tell people, because I know this about
Michelle Obama hole in the bottom of the car moment where she looked down and was like, in spite of this, I am choosing him. Yeah.
Listen, but there's something to be said about a woman who sees their man in the future, because I know Chris, and I know he had things popping before you, but then it was a lull, and then there was another high. And I think that's what you just said confirms that you saw him. Like you got the verbal things, but you saw him, and that's dope. Like, I really salute you guys.
Thank you. So that was it. It was that moment, and I think from then, I mean, literally, like, there was one moment where we split for a little bit, and once we got back together, we haven't split.
I remember we were kind of split, and I saw her, and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be with her. Am I supposed to be with her? I'm supposed to be with her? No. Yeah. I had a conversation with myself like Denzel as Hurricane when he was in solitary confinement. I was like, you ain't supposed to be with her. Yes, you are. Why don't you go over there and say something? I'm not going to say nothing to her. She probably with somebody. You ain't going to know until you go talk to her. All right, go talk to her. You a punk. All right. And so, and we're still together.
You know, and I commend that because LA is unforgiving for relationships, right?
Right.
The world is. But it's ironic because, you know, the ones who stay solid are the ones who jump rope in and out of this industry. And I'll tell you what I mean. We go get our money and we go fucking home. How has that been, you know, because, you know, this Will and Jada thing, and I'm sorry I got to bring it up, and, you know, but, you know, this is like the unraveling of fucking, what's the place where people used to go in Jamaica and everybody was naked?
Hedonism.
This is hedonism. And all the shit is coming out.
Right.
And my thing is, in a world where you could be you, finally, you could be whoever the fuck you, if you like dogs, this your time. You can't even tell the truth. So I just want to know how y'all feel about what's going on with the Smiths.
I feel, I don't know if they should have come out. You know what I mean? Like some things we don't have to know. Some things we kind of go, I wonder, like we still to this day don't know if Luther was gay. Right? So all the rumors and the mystery and like, I like when it's like that. I don't need to know the truth like that. It's none of my business.
Because the truth is scary, Mr. Spencer. The truth is very scary.
Right. Wait till they find out that Tevin Campbell used to live with us. I'm joking.
No, you think No, but we do know where Tevin is, and he still sounds good.
No, but this is my thing, and V Sizzle, you might want to add, but this is my thing. Jada's in control of that relationship, and I'm outward looking in. Matter of fact, I have a beautiful. Are you in this picture, Chris? Wait a second. Wait, where's this? So Jada's always been.
Wow, Jada.
You guys were. I think you were there, Chris. But the thing about it is, right? The thing about it is, how the fuck does August Alsina come on whatever he was on national platform and say, I knew love till its fullest potential. I achieved something, and oh, by the way, I got permission.
Yeah.
That wasn't like an add-on or an ad-lib. That was like a full sentence.
Yeah.
He wasn't lying.
No.
He didn't sound like he was lying. It's our job to read people, casting and
writers. Absolutely. Yeah.
So my thing is for them to go to the red tabletop. I mean, what the fuck do you Will's face? He couldn't fix his face. He could not fix his expression. I was in pain watching his face.
Really, I wasn't.
It was very awkward watching.
But see, Vanessa, that's why we're related. We are related.
I think we were separated at birth. For me, I just felt like unless there is going to be 100% transparency, right? And just like total honesty, I didn't feel that there was a need to come to the table, frankly. And in some ways, I just don't know that they owed anybody an explanation, in part for two reasons. I don't think they owed anybody an explanation. And two, I think that unless they were going to really say it all, right? Then don't say anything. Because
but we're on the inside. Time out. We're on the inside. And I think that was all enough.
No. But to your point, Chris, how do you even address it?
Right.
Let that shit back your Will Smith and Jada.
Right, just let it go. Yeah, I agree. Because it's funny. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Now that they've done it, people feel like, well, Will said he was going to get back at her, and Will said this, and Jada, the entanglement. Why did she have to say entanglement and not, there's all
Great
this
word.
like There are all these.
I wonder who's gonna write that movie first.
You can't make this shit up.
You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
TV.
You can't make it up.
But I just feel like. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just feel like, you know, everybody does relationships their own way, and I think that some of the blowback they're getting is that, you know, that this is how they marriage. And I think that there's a lot of blowback from people who feel like marriage really is about staying in it, sticking it out, and you know, and choosing each other all the time, even when you're working through your stuff. But I think people just feel like there's a little that as much as they said, there was a whole lot more that they left out, and that's the part that I feel terrible for Will and Jada, is that I think they thought that this was going to squash everything, and somehow this is like
kind of
kick the door wide open for people wanting more.
But you know what it did? All the rumors we've ever heard became true in our heads.
That's what I'm saying. I like a little Hollywood mystery.
I know.
But and that's why I'm like, why? You're the biggest star on the planet, Will. Like, what forced you to bring that face? I wish I could put the face right here.
I see it. It's like the Hitch face. It was almost like the face from Hitch that you won't forget. You know.
And then he says, well, wait, then he says, come on, Jada, what's entanglement?
I was so mad at him.
I loved it.
I was like,
You want her to say she was fucking that little boy? What you want her?
I know. I was so mad. I was like, don't do it.
Everybody thinks that Jada was in control of that conversation. I thought he was.
He was, and he said it. And he said it.
No. I don't agree. I don't agree. Jada
Master.
Jada.
We all know Jada didn't say anything she didn't want to say.
Right.
Because we know that Jada is.
I think he baited her.
But
I think they knew what they were doing. You know what I mean?
What you mean baited her, Chris? Baited what? That was the plan. That was rehearsed and planned.
Yeah.
Exactly. Tell the people what you did. You know what I mean? I think they know exactly what happened.
I think that they set it up, right? Like it was well rehearsed. It was this like a well rehearsed conversation. Right. And I think that they were the problem is I think that they thought they were going to be able to leave it at that.
Right.
And that would be enough for us. But you know right now we're sitting in a time of really being able to suss out the truth. We're all like truffle pigs, right? Like we could all find the truffles and we're all sniffing out the shit. But if it's not authentic, we're gonna sniff it out because right now our authenticity radars are like
they forgot
on
about
another level.
Yeah.
They forgot about one group of people who are gonna watch it. Niggas. You can't. Yo, we want this Star Wars because see that dude right there? He got a limp. You know, the stormtrooper, whatever, the stormtroopers ain't got no limp. Fuck this movie. Like, nigga, that's the whole, you gonna throw the whole movie away because the stormtrooper got a limp? We like this, and everybody's a reporter and an analyst, and we're looking for everything. So, it was damn if you do, damn if you don't. And
but guess what? You done had too many public moments with your daughter. You had, I'm talking about where it adheres to sexuality. You've never addressed your own. This was the opportunity to just be truthful. Because this is my thing, and back to your point about relationships, Vanessa, like, whatever this new designer shit they got going on with what you can do and relate, that's all cool if that works for you, but be about that.
Right.
Be 100% committed to that because there's no, to Chris's point, there's no getting away from your people. Your people gonna hear this shit and they're gonna be like, hold up.
Right.
So I just, I want to go to Kanye and Kim. And I got to talk about relationships and Vanessa, we can go there on the political thing a little later. But I want to go.
No. I'm ready to talk about them.
So, people keep saying that the Kardashians are like this super secret society of their own. And they, you know what I'm saying? Now, they seem to be batting 100.
Yeah.
But, and you're right, Chris, we're on the inside. So it's a lot of shit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But what woman and or family that really cares about somebody that has mental challenges doesn't, I guess you can't control him from speaking. How do you feel about that dynamic? I want to know. I need to.
I don't know. To me, I don't see them having a real relationship for some reason. I don't see him coming into bed and going, "Hey, baby, what you want to watch?" I don't see. It feels like another, not that Will and Jada are, but it feels like a put together, prearranged situation. Like me plus you will equal this.
It is. You know
why?
What I
mean? There was no look at her across the room. Like I saw her and a thunderbolt hit me, and I was like, "Should I be with her?" Yes, you should. It was like, oh, Jay has Bay. I need to get somebody with money so we can be a power couple. Listen, we're not in their bedrooms, we're not in their kitchens, but do I see love? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like it was a business arrangement.
It feels like she was an artist, that he looked at her and was like, she was like that young girl he saw at the skate ring and was like, oh, she could sing a little bit, but I could create an artist, right? Because ironically, as I was looking on Bloomscape to order some more plants last night, I was watching Sex and the City, and Sex and the City went off, and Keeping Up with the Kardashians came on at, an ungodly hour. And it was from, I just have to look.
Kardashians? What is
Yes, I stole that from my godson. He coined that. He coined that expression, and it has stuck with me ever since. But I had to look at I pressed info because I wanted to see what year it was, because I couldn't fucking recognize anybody. You know why? Because nobody looks the fucking same. Right. Nobody. Holy shit. I can't even tell you. Yes. Like, Chloe's new face, they broke her whole fucking face to redo her face.
Yeah, it's like Mike Tyson broke her nose and her cheeks, and then they said, let's start fresh.
He shattered her whole fucking face, and they put it back together because it was stunning. Last night, I was like, what year is this? This must have been like 06. It was 2012. And Kim couldn't dress for shit in 2012, but they had already introduced the idea of Kanye, and I went, this is where it all happened.
Wait. Hey, yo, V.
Two vaginas ruined the whole world. Chris's, because she birthed them all, and then Kim. So go figure. Two vaginas crushed society.
But you gotta give Kanye some credit, though. He made her a fashion icon.
Well, listen. He put her in clothes. Because let me tell you something. I don't think anything about her is fashionable. I think that I really don't. When you've got money, it's easy to put on a lot of shit. Okay? She's not a fashion icon. June Ambrose is a fashion icon.
Well, that's what June does for a living.
She looks fly in the shit that I think she can breathe in and looks comfortable in. But when you can't be comfortable in fashion and own the fashion, and the fashion is sort of wearing you, I don't think that's fashion icon at all.
But I'll say this if you let me, sister dear.
Of course.
When he came into the show in specific and he changed her closet, you remember that Kardashian show, right?
100%.
And so he went minimalistic, which was like color-based tones, which he went on to make $1 billion worth of Yeezys with, right? I'm sorry, and Yeezys, whatever. But the fact that she stuck with that script, if you look at her, I'm just saying, from 100%.
That 100%.
She's giving you, with the KW Beauty, she's giving you icon. Though. I don't want to hate on that.
No. She has mastered the art of co-opting people's stuff. Because basically what she did was...
You don't think she's educated now that she knows how to put stuff together?
Now that she's probably learned how to put stuff together. Yeah. But I'm saying, she literally, what they're great at appropriating. They're amazing at appropriating. Because they took all of Anastasia's makeup and all of that, from the lip colors to the lipsticks to the everything, and they were slapped a KKW on that. Listen, their business model of being able to rebrand is fucking genius. Absolutely genius. You can't hate on that. You just can't. It's so smart. It's so easy. Why remake the wheel? The wheel is already fucking rounded and rolled. Why are we gonna remake it? Let's just rebrand it. So I get it.
Let's just add some Botox. Let's just add some Botox to the wheel.
But I just
let's break a motherfucker's face and rebuild.
100%. Johnny, just listen. Tonight it's gonna come on around 3 a.m. your time because it was around like midnight mine, and turn on one episode. Listen, Bruce was Bruce. That's how all the episodes are, okay? Like
Yo.
It's Bruce before the long hair. It's Bruce before the long hair. It's what's her name? Kylie when she was still like a freshman.
Kylie looks like a different human being.
Oh, totally different.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
Like you see the transition that all these people went through the camera, through the lens, and it's actually it's stunning. And I will say this. Like that particular episode to me was so telling about Bruce's, journey to Caitlyn, because he was already saying, in the house, the way that he was being treated and ignored. And you're like, oh my God, this was where he was probably feeling the most alone and the most ready to break out and live who he always wanted to live like, who he felt he always was, because he just wasn't at all seen. And feeling a part of their dynamic and their situation.
And you and I and Chris have had this conversation about Kanye, and we both publicly had comments. I'm trying not to be in the fix-it business, right? Because people are going to be who they're going to be. But for the culture, I would love to be able to save Kanye from his. Right? I don't know if you saw the new thing, V Sizzle. I think 2% of the early voting was for Kanye.
Yes.
Or new poll or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we're like you and I, we went on him. He comes out. I think I pushed him to denouncing Trump in the weird way that he did. Mm-hmm. But then he steps back from talking about it at all. He posts his mother's death, God rest her soul. And then the next day, the fucking polls come back saying that people are really like listening to the fact that he might really run.
Yeah. He got everybody's attention by posting his mother's, passing. When was the last time he had ever posted about that? Long time ago. It's a great way to get people's attention. And you know who I really hope decides to put their hat back on and walk the other way? Chance came out for him. Chance the Rapper came out for him.
Yeah, that was weird.
And I was like, I get your 3 is the Holy Trinity, but yeah, you better go take out that good book and yeah.
Let me say this: when I read that,
I was so disappointed about Chance because I just felt like,
well, his daddy. Real quick, let's say that. 2, if you read what he said. He made blanket statements at first, right? It was like, you're really going to not listen to that? Yay. You really think Biden's the answer? Those were kind of like the blanket statements.
Right.
I feel, and I'm going to be 100% me because that's all I can be. I feel like, what's the guy that created Apple?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. What's the guy that created Facebook?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg. Frustrated nerds come from a different type of mental consciousness. When they get to a point where they have power, it no longer becomes, can I get the girl? Can I get the money? It becomes power.
Right. Absolutely.
100%.
It becomes the never-ending drug. Mm-hmm. Now, anybody who is misconstruing the words nerd that I'm using, I'm saying there's a sect of people that come up in life and are never appreciated for their true gifts.
Yeah.
They earn the respect, the women, the money, whatever, men, whatever they're into, and then they realize that that's not enough either. And then the power comes into play. You think Zuckerberg or fucking Jobs didn't want to create their own ecosystem?
Yeah. No.
They've created their own ecosystem. They don't need nobody.
No, it's so true.
Kanye's the same person. Chance the Rapper, hopefully we can save, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. I think that's a really great like metaphor, the way that you put that together, and that comparing the Steve Jobs and the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Jeff Bezos of the world, that they have this untangible intelligence, right? Like they just are constantly creating and building in their minds. And I think that to an extent that Kanye understands what that is, has been able to harness this skill set that he has and this gift that it is, and is trying to get there. But to me, I just feel like I don't even know that he's really in that group completely, right?
Kanye?
I think I wouldn't lump him in with the Zuckerbergs or the Bezos or the Steve Jobs. You know who I'd put him in with a little bit? Like the Elon Musks, the guys who are still the nerd, but who still really want to be cool. Power's great, but cool is even more important to them. And I say that because I've worked with so many producers in LA, like on some really big shows, and you know who they were? They were the fucking nerdiest, nebbishy kids in their class in high school and in college, right? Came from money, so they had means to do shit and wear the cool shit. So they always got by a little bit. But once they got to LA and got that coolness and that power and started to produce shit, and they got there, that's the thing that will always hold Kanye back, is that his need to be cool and fawned over is so much more important than creating something great and having true power. I don't think he really gets the true power of it all, because at the end of the day, he's a fucking megalomaniac, and megalomaniacs, like, they have no consciousness.
He turned up out of nowhere. Vanessa, I got nervous. He's a fuck you.
What he is, like, I just had
Barack's head came off.
Like when you're a megalomaniac, you don't have any consciousness or awareness of anything but self. It's like this idiot in the White House, right? It's like the troglodyte in the White House. Like, he's got no awareness about anything other than him.
Yeah, but it's also like, it's also,
so, you know, that's what we're dealing with Kanye.
It's like the king in the wardrobe or whatever. Nobody's Emperor's New Clothes. I made up my own version.
No, there is a war king in the wardrobe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, ain't nobody telling them this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Nobody's telling, you know, the orange man that he's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't think there's people, we know people around Kanye, and we know they're not telling him that that's ridiculous. Because they're like, he's sick, he's going through it. Oh, today is not the medicine day. And today he wants to, you know, he wants to walk to Africa. So all of us are going to go. We're not going to make it. But we're going to all walk with them. And we're going to hold the water and make sure everything is okay.
He's going to walk on the water. We're going to part the sea for him. I mean,
I think,
even
and
when
then
he
there's the
started,
people going, I think he could do it. Like,
yeah, like, I mean, even when he started, what was it, Sunday service, and people were like, oh, we went to church. I was like, let me tell you something. That's a fucking concert. That's not church. It's a concert, okay? Like, if we start calling this shit church, we are in so much trouble. Like, we are in so much trouble if we start
Vanessa,
calling this church.
Vanessa, we're not going to get in the church, baby, because, you know, that's a whole nother
Well,
episode.
that's a whole nother thing for me, too. But my point is that if we start equating that to church, right, and start forgiving him, because what he was doing in other places, he didn't try it in LA, but a friend of mine grew up in New Orleans, and when he went and did Sunday service down there, at the end of Sunday service, he was like, everybody should go out and vote for Trump. Trump is a good guy. You don't get it. And I was like, oh, you're trying to indoctrinate people. And the more people that come and they start hearing this shit, and they hear it coming from you, and they're buying your ugly fucking sweatshirts, and they're wearing all this shit, you know, like, they're gonna believe you. They just dropped $200 on a sweatshirt. Of course they're gonna believe you. Like, they believe in you that much to spend half their rent or a third of their rent or whatever, right? Like, it's just wrong. Like, it's wrong. It's scary.
I want to bring this full circle to get back. I want to go to kids and raising kids in this particular time, but I want to bring this full circle by saying, first of all, you're necessary, Spencer's. Vanessa, the way that you are connecting the dots is stay on it. Stay on it. But I do want to say, no, fuck that. We'll get off of that because there's so much. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. It's going to get deeper. But I want to talk about our kids.
Yeah.
I grew up single parent home. My wife grew up single parent home for a little bit. Then her stepdad, who's amazing. He's like the only father figure besides Uncle Leo that I've had. But I think how we've tried to break the cycle. I want to talk about breaking the cycle. Yeah, how do you guys feel about that? Because I mean, we're all doing it. We're married. Numbers of kids are whole and happy. And how do you guys feel about that?
I don't even know if we're trying to break the cycle. I think we're just doing what we feel is right. Like Vanessa grew up in a Puerto Rican Huxtable household. You know what I mean? Like it was hard for me to impress her because she had an amazing father. You know what I mean?
Well, funny. He was an amazing dad, but not great at husbanding.
Yeah, but he wasn't your husband. I'm just talking about dad.
But I get that.
So
but the juxtaposition of what that was, because as a kid, you see it. So like he was good to us, but we bore witness and we knew and we experienced the pain and hurt that my mother did. So in spite of what it looked like from the outside and these ideals of like, oh, I have two parents who have careers, right? It was a constant in the house all the time. Not that he was putting hands on her, but the fisticuffs arguments all the times, or, you know, you hear those battles or the crying and like the hurt, and you're like, fuck it. Is it even worth it? Right?
No, there's that. But I'm just talking
But that's
about
breaking the cycle, by the way, Chris. That's breaking a cycle for
right,
your wife.
Okay, understood. But what I was just saying in terms of how he treated her, right? Mm-hmm. I had a bar. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't going to marry a man who didn't do these certain things. Like, yes, they were fisticuffs, but he did treat her a certain way as well, where I felt like I had to match that and go above and beyond to make sure my wife was happy. That's the part I'm speaking about in terms of
but I also
dad was.
Hey, Chris, I also think too, and Vanessa, I think too, but that's part of what I mean by breaking the cycle. Like, there's certain attention to detail that we have in our relationship because we know more. Our parents weren't as well equipped with knowledge and information like we were. Like Jessica's mother often reminds me during the political process that they used to go to church to find out who to vote for. Like, they didn't have access. So.
Yeah, I think that for us, it was, for me, I wasn't even all about getting married because like I said, I saw what that was for my parents, and I saw my mother's fear of wanting to leave, feeling like she didn't want to leave, then my dad winning her back and, you know, and then staying through it and working through all those emotions. And I was like, fuck, like, you know, maybe it's easier to not get married and just live in love with somebody and in this state of peace without that word or that contract of a legal union. If that works better for me, then maybe that's the route I want to go. And then at one point he was like, he recognized that really wasn't for him. And I started to realize that if we're in this, then let's really be in this. And so we got married.
I despise the word baby daddy.
We never really
no,
said
I just
that.
no.
I know, but we never called each other that. Okay, you can finish.
Okay, I'm saying I didn't.
Think we ever.
Can I tell you? Yeah. I never wanted to ever hear that word, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't want to ever go, oh, I got to go pick up my kids from their mom's house. Like, you know, I never wanted to say that's my kid's mother. Like, I want to say that's my wife, and those are our kids. I'm not saying we.
I 100%.
I never, and I would hear the stories of my friends who thought, you know, I have friends, you know, we have ignorant friends like, she tall, I'm tall, I'm gonna have a baby with her, and we're gonna have a kid that's gonna make it to the NBA. And now you got a 6'8" nigga working at Vons. So I wanted to make sure that it was perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I really got the perfect situation.
But this is what I mean, though. Like,
no, what I'm saying is,
no,
I wasn't thinking I got to break the cycle of what has happened. I just knew what was right and what was wrong. So I guess in a sense I am saying that, but I wasn't thinking I need to do this because others have been doing that. I just knew that I needed to be.
Yeah, no, Chris, you're human. And I wasn't saying, just so we're clear, breaking the cycle is doing better.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Okay. Yes.
360, the offering is better. The quality of life is better. We know whether you grew up in a house or not, to Vanessa's point, dysfunctional is dysfunctional, together or apart.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of times now in our kids, and I want to jump to our kids really quick, it's like, you know, even my mother told me, and she clarified the statement, but I'll start with what she said. She said, your kids need to suffer. I'm like, why should they suffer? And she's like, no, not like suffering the term definition of the word, but she's saying like their sport. I said, well, Mom, you have to look at their life not like your upbringing. You got to look at it like if your mom or dad could double down on your dreams and provide a system where you only had to focus on that and you achieve it, the hard work that it takes to get to that point, do you realize that's a win?
Yep.
Like, whoa. So I think, you know, again, that era knew what they knew. They could only tell us.
Yes.
We had to remix and repack.
Understood. Yes.
Our benefit.
For us with that and breaking the cycle of that, like, you know, I gave up casting full time at some point so that I could be home and be able to break that cycle of, you know, like so many times I wanted to continue with dancing and I couldn't because my mom was working in the city and couldn't get me to dance. My dad was, you know, working in the city and couldn't get home. So there, you know, my brother had friends who drove, so it was easy for him to follow his sports. So, you know, there were a lot of things that I feel like I lost out on. And I know my mom felt like she lost out on as a mom. So for us to break that cycle, you know, we sacrificed certain things in the relationship that, okay, so we're going to stay in the house that we first bought and we're going to send our kids to private school and, you know, I'm going to stay home and without the dual income, we're going to stay here rather than move on up, you know, like it's just certain things that we felt living here, we'd still be able to add to the value of our kids' life and the quality of their life without trying to do too much and staying within a comfort zone that respected us as a couple and our mental and emotional health to not have to put too much of a financial stress on us to be able to live. But I think breaking the cycle is important. And listen, some days we fucking fail. These two kids, they hear us argue. Like, they'll hear us argue, but what they'll always hear, even after an argue, is an apology. And we'll always walk, you know, even walk into their rooms and say to them, you know what, sorry that you had to hear that, but don't be afraid of a confrontation. Don't be afraid of an argument, you know, because that's life and that happens. And we can disagree, and we can disagree even while we're in love and loving on each other. But as long as we can come back together, as long as we can do that circle back and apologize, that's okay. I never wanted to raise my kids to feel like arguing in a marriage was bad or hearing arguing in a marriage as a bad thing, because I didn't want them to feel that saying nothing was the way to go. And that the more you role model saying nothing and doing nothing, the more shit that they'll take on and accept at some point in their life. And I just didn't want that. I did not want that for them at all.
And I love that, Vanessa, because at the end of the day, I think you realize, especially as your children become functioning young adults, you realize that you learned a lot of shit together. And I think that the lessons, you know, bringing it full circle like you did, like if we argue, you know, they don't see nothing crazy, right?
Right.
At the same time, this is what happened. And this is what happened. And then you can also, like, when your kids get older, like Kenny, right? You'll be like, damn, like he really is regurgitating everything you've ever said to him.
Like,
no, like
holding up the mirror, like, oh my God, that's me.
Yo, V, Chris, I'm telling you, when I see Kenny kind of try to, well, not try, how he mentors his brother and try, because they're 3 years apart. And so when you see you're like, shit, he listens to his mom and daddy, like he really out here.
Yeah, that's great. And you know what else our kids see? Even if we have an argument, they will see us still be passionate, her walk by and, you know, rub my back or pop me on the butt, like even after it's happened. So they might be like, did they really have an argument? I mean, so they see the love at all times. You know what I mean?
And it's important that they know it's not an easy road too. Because the one thing I want my kids to know is that at the end of the day, anything you want, you have to work for. This is not some cookie cutter. Everything's gonna be amazing. This is we work for this because we want this.
Yes, yes, exactly. I mean, and I think it's funny because our kids learned recently that we had this like moment where we were trying to figure out what it was a make or break moment
right.
in the marriage, and they were like, "What? You guys were about to get divorced?" And I was like, "You know, I don't know that we were really about to get divorced, but the thought of taking a break came up, and you know, we had to talk them through what it was about, you know, because it's so funny. Like in certain marriages, an extra relationship would be the make or break, right? In our marriage, it was talking about family that became the make or break situation, and you know, and just to watch them and walk through that and feel secure. Like my daughter was like, "Well, is that still a thing?" And we're like, "No, it's not it." But what I want you to take from that and learn from that is that because we chose to lean in and lean on each other and move through those really uncomfortable moments, like you can make it work. You just have to choose that that's what you want to do. That's why I'm hoping now, like in society, that, you know, a lot of Caucasian people will choose to live through those uncomfortable moments and these uncomfortable conversations and shifts in these power structures so that we can really move forward and be the nation of these ideals that we were built on, because we were built on a great set of ideals. We didn't live up to them the first time around. Let's hope that the second time around we can get this shit right, because I don't know that we'll get a third.
I love it, and I think that white people are tired of those types of white people now. I think that they are drawing a line in the sand and saying, "You motherfuckers are horrible humans. We're gonna hit that shit, and we're gonna double down and let the black people know and the brown people know that we are not with the bullshit."
And they're also digging deep in within their liberal selves and going, I've kind of felt a certain way about this group of people or that type of person. And I may not have let it out verbally, but I've you know, there were times where, you know, I could have hired someone of color, or I could have done this, you know, sold this house to that couple, but I felt a certain way because of my own, you know.
That's so true. Yeah, that they had a little bit of Karen and Ken in them and they didn't know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this woke them up.
Motherfucker.
Greatest word ever.
Did you just whistle at the same time?
At the same time.
So I want to say this to you guys because I am an hour over because y'all played.
Because we got our shit wrong. Sorry, everybody.
That's the kind of shit we were doing on day 3.
And I rescheduled Little Kim for you, so it's.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you, Queen Bee. Thank you.
So this is my thing, though. You know, and I love that we're ending on this because the true measure of a couple is their kids. You understand what I'm saying? And I think we know that. And we might get all of the shit in our house and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? How the fuck? But outside this house, they are fucking great humans.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so funny when we hear the teachers talking about them. We like, I guess we're doing a good job.
Yeah, or like a friend's parent said something and you're like,
he cleaned up the whole kitchen. You'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
You're like, you get to live one more day.
Who knew he could paint? I'm like, he could paint?
But
I wired all of our Wi-Fi. You'd be like, which kid are you talking about?
I want you to know that you're necessary and important. I feel like out of this quarantine, there have been a couple of phoenixes that have risen from the ashes. I think you all as a unit are one. I think your offering together as one is way more potent than it was prior to. And I'm speaking this on to you because I feel like the balance that you both have in your dynamic in your relationship, you got the turned up one and you got the common, and that's what is needed. And I prayerfully speak over you that you leave quarantine get past this election and really do something with that, because the visual of this type of love and this type of relationship is so necessary in the world, not just our people. The world needs to see great examples of fucking working for something, loving for something, and living for something. I think you guys embody that. So I wanted to have you
Thank
together.
you, Ken Burns. Thank you.
Very welcome and very deserving.
Love
But I
you,
want
sir.
to together because it is a real thing to really see people that truly mean what they say and do. And I think you guys are two that do that.
Appreciate you,
Thank
sir.
you. Appreciate you and Jess. Thank
And
you.
nobody perfect. We're gonna still be discussing.
Exactly. Even at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's an all
Our
the time.
3:45 interview.
Yeah, love y'all, man. Be safe. And
Love you
Love
back,
you
boy.
guys too.
Okay.
Bye, Jess.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, man. They was late, but it was worth a try. I told you, my friends, man. My friends be knowing a lot about a little. You hear me? Don't let that go over your head. Thank y'all for sticking around. Y'all stuck around for a long motherfucking time. The dream is really real, huh? Shit going on that y'all really want to learn and find out. Well, stick with the kid, because it's only going to get better. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We got the young legend Karen Civil tomorrow. Yeah, really, really dynamic and interesting young woman. Big things on the horizon. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.